Okay, everybody, quiet down. Today you'll see that we have Mrs. Gursky with us today. And you'll also see that on our chairs we have 3 pieces of paper and a pencil. On those 3 pieces of paper, I would like for you to write down 3 phrases. They can be anything that you would like them to be. Try to be creative with them, and after you are finished writing your phrases, they can be sentences, they can be names, they can be anything that you want them to be. After you're finished, you fold them up and you put them in the jar that you'll see at the front of the classroom. Now that we've finished our pre-lesson activity, Ms. Gursky, I'd like to start with a question. When we were trying to solve problems and have better communication with people throughout our school, what is something we must always strive to do?
Well, that's a good thing to think about, Mr. Rohlf. A positive thing to do while you're communicating with each other is to stay positive.
That sounds like a great idea. It actually brings to mind the yes and principle that we were already talking about in class.
I agree. The words yes and both sound like positive words to me.
And if you'll remember, the last time we discussed how free and positive improvised performances can be, but also how using positive language can help the improvisation from dying. If, for example, a student starts an improvisation and says that she's underwater and her partner says, "No, we aren't," then the improvisation is unable to grow.
That's pretty similar to regular conversation too. When the word no comes in there, the other party can set up a conflict and not want to communicate any further. Very
right. So let's try a few exercises now using our yes and principle to see how much we can create and remember.
Do you have an example of how you can use this principle?
I'm glad you asked. It's very simple. If during your improv your partner says something like, for instance, "Look at that spaceship," you could say, "Yes, and look, it's starting to leave. We better hurry if we aren't going to catch it," instead of saying no.
Okay, so you just take something and you build on it for further communication.
Correct. So let's try it. Everybody take 2 of your folded papers out of the jar that we made as we entered the class, and we will use them in the exercise. Each one is a mystery, so when it is read during the improv, we must say yes and then build upon it.
Okay, let's get going.
Okay, everybody, that was very impressive. I was very impressed by all the things that you guys were creating. And as you can see, saying yes and after things that are created can really help build something to be really beautiful and really something that you wouldn't even expect. So now that we have our minds and our bodies ready, let's turn our attention to Mrs. Gursky, and she'll tell us a little bit more about the things that we're going to be doing today.
Okay, thank you for inviting me into your classroom, Mr. Rohlf. Today, I want to talk to all of you about the bullying problem. One of the major things that upset students that they come to my office about is bullying. Either they're being bullied or they're watching other people being bullied. I then have to call everybody involved and whatnot, and it becomes a big problem. So today, through collaboration with Mr. Rohlf, we've decided we're going to take his improvisational activities and make them bullying so that you as students can form a feeling of empathy and everybody can understand being the bully, the bullied, or the bystander through these exercises that we're going to do today. So Mr. Rohlf is going to take you through that and show you how you can do your improvisation with bullying in mind.
So today I'm going to introduce 3 different bullying scenarios that we are going to create an improv from. So our first improv, we're going to focus on the character of the bully. So Mrs. Gursky is going to pick 5 people. One person will be the bully, another person will be the person being bullied, and then there will be 3 bystanders. In this improv, the bully will be the focus of what we will be looking at. So just like we talk about every week in improv class, these people in the improv need to think about who they are, where they've been, where they're going, something that they want, because that's what every character or every person wants. So and what every character needs to focus on. So, Mrs. Gursky, would you mind picking 5 quiet hands?
Okay. First thing, we're going to look for a bully, somebody who throws takes a lunch tray out of another student's hand. So who wants to be that bully? Oh, okay, good. You can do that. Then we need somebody who'll be carrying the lunch tray. Good, great. You can do that one. And then we'll need 3 people who are going to watch and determine whether they want to help, whether they don't want to help, or they want to laugh. Oh, okay, you 3 can do it. Okay, how about if you guys go over into that corner over there and start thinking about the direction you want to go? Okay, what's the next scenario?
Okay, so let's set up some chairs. Let's set up the scene. Person A, bully. I want you to think about your character. I want you to think about why you're taking that student's tray, and you need to give me a plausible reason as to why you would do it. And the person being the bully, I'd like you to think about your reaction to what happens. And bystanders, just like we always talk about, people as bystanders in the scene also need to be part of the scene. So make sure you're watching and make sure you're paying attention, and think about you as a character as well, and how you as a character would react to what's going on.
And I'm just going to interject. As a counselor, I also want you, while you're doing this improvisation, to be really in touch with the feelings that you're feeling while you're doing this improv. How does it feel to be the bully? How does it feel to be the bullied? And then how are you personally reacting to all of the bystander actions here? So in addition to doing your artistic, I also want you to focus on the feelings and the empathy that's coming across also.
Okie dokie, here we go. I'll coach you as we go along.
That was great, guys. Yeah, really good work.
That was awesome.
We'll talk about all of this later on.
There were some really creative things that I saw, both as actors and just as empathetical people as well. That it really is important that we pay attention to the human aspect of acting, just like we've been talking about. So, Mrs. Gursky, can you pick 5 more people to do the next?
Okay, do you want to set the scene first before I pick them so they know what they're doing?
So in this one, we're going to focus on the person being bullied. Let's get 5 people, and let's have the bullied person walk into a gym locker, and you have just received. You shouldn't be checking your phones in school, but you've been being cyberbullied by somebody that's in the gym locker, and you probably don't want to catch eye contact with that person, and we will need 3 bystanders to pay attention to your body language and maybe how you and the bully are interacting. Just like we talked about last time, keep in mind your character, why you're doing it, maybe why you bullied the other person, maybe why you think that you're being bullied. So let's pay attention to our body language and the things that we can get across.
And we'll have 3 bystanders in.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's see, raise of hands. Who's interested in this scene? Okay. All right. John, we'll have you do that one. Okay. Do you want to be the bully? Okay, sounds good. Who wants to be the bullied in that situation? Okay, good. And then I need 3 bystanders. Quick, hands. Okay, we got you. 1, 2, 3. All right, you want to go off to the side there and consider your scene first before we start doing it. Thank you so much for volunteering.
That's very interesting. Let's take a few minutes to focus in on and make our final decisions before we start, and I will coach you as we go along. That was, I think, maybe even more thought-provoking the second time around, because as a lot of people see, every time that we get up, the improvs always seem to get better.
And the empathy is really coming through. Good work. Yeah. Good work.
And so let's start into our 3rd one, and this time we're gonna...
Look, it's only all girls.
Yeah, it's only girls. So let's try a girl one, a girl-centered one. Let's try the bystanders this time. So with the bystanders, we've seen 2 scenes where the bystanders didn't exactly react or say much to the people that were involved. So let's see if anywhere in there anyone is moved to speak or say something. and make themselves involved. So let's...
And interestingly in this is girls tend to get power when other girls are being the bully. So probably in this one, the bystanders can really jump in with the bully and also become kind of bullies themselves.
It can go either way. Let's think about our characters and the things that we care about as characters to see where it goes, and maybe what could be avoided or what could change. So go ahead and pick some people. And
okay, well, we only have girls left in this, and I want you to think about this. What do girls do to bully each other? So we're going to have one bully, one bullied, and then the rest of you are bystanders who could actually turn into bullies. Okay, so we only have girls left, so how about if you guys go over to the side and think about what you're doing, and remember, consider the empathy in here and what we're all feeling all the way through it.
Okie dokie, so let's start it out. I will coach you as you go along. If you have any questions, let's take a few seconds to zone in on what the decisions we're going to make and who we are and why we're there, and let's go.
Okay, everybody, now that we've done all the improvisational activities, and I think we learned an empathetic response to those bullying situations, at this point, Mr. Rohlf's going to hand out some worksheets to you, and I'm going to ask that we all sit in a circle so that we can reflect upon the activities and what we have felt on an emotional level. So as he hands those out, I want you to think about what are some, let's list at least 10 things that you learned today about the bully, the bullied, and the bystanders. You know, I'm sure through this empathetic exercise that you learned something about how each character feels and reacts. And we've talked about that here too. So if you wouldn't mind, please write that down. Additionally, I'd like for you to throw out some thoughts or feelings that you have in all of this. What is there anything you'd like to share? Let's talk about it. Maybe we can come up with some ideas that as a group we can start to elicit some changes within the school. Has this exercise made you react differently, or do you think you're going to handle the bullying situation differently? How can we report it? You know, you don't want to cause a situation where you could get in trouble and become a bully person either, but as long as we are apathetic about things, we're not going to see any kind of changes. So if there's anything you wish to discuss, now's open discussion time before we start our writing prompt.
And this is always a safe space, so because this is a creative environment, so don't feel like anything that you bring up is a stupid question.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
something like that.
not.
So feel free. This is a discussion. So.
And nothing is right or wrong. Feelings
Exactly.
are not right or wrong. They just are. Okay, everybody, now we are going to do the final part of our lesson here today. And this is the part of the writing assignment, the writing prompt. I want to let you know before we do that this writing prompt is also going to be kept in your guidance and career portfolio. So we'll do a rough draft writing of it now. You can hand it in and I will grade it and give you back your feedback on that. You will have the chance to rewrite 3 different times. Okay, what are your questions on that? Any questions regarding the writing prompt? Okay, Mr. Rohlf is going to hand out the writing prompt to you. In addition, he's going to hand you the Keystone writing rubric that you're going to be graded upon. Minimally, we want a 5-paragraph essay. However, you are encouraged to write more. Again, as you turn it in, if we don't finish it in class today, you can take it for homework and bring it to Mr. Rohlf tomorrow, and he will bring them to me. As I said, I will correct them and hand them back to you. You will have 3 chances for a rewrite based on my corrections on that. So if you get your writing prompt out, I'm going to go over it with you. This is your topic. Your best friend is bullying others. How would you tell him or her to stop the bullying behavior? Be sure to include your feelings about why you think he or she should stop the bullying. What are your questions? Okay, if we don't have any questions, I invite you to start writing right now. Thank you, and it's been a pleasure being in your classroom today.
Thank you, Ms. Kersey.